Hi, I'm Chucha Barber, and we're here today for another Digital Minute. And this is my co-host,
Ryan Barber.
Ryan Barber. Okay, Ryan, if you were honest, would you share that you sometimes lose your patience with me when it comes to technology?
Yes.
Thank you,
Yeah.
at least. Okay. And frankly, that's one of the reasons for this little gig here, because he likes doing this, and therefore I have an opportunity to ask him questions that he otherwise would like roll his eyes at.
Put it on camera. We'll do it.
There you go. Okay. So here's the question. Okay. Over the weekend, which was when we celebrated Christmas, because one of us was in Norway, you were helping your father with his iPhone. And no surprise, he didn't know certain passwords, right?
Go figure.
And I have had the experience at least once or twice where I didn't know the password for my Gmail or the whatever. So, two questions about passwords. Number one, in fact, we just had a little issue with the Wi-Fi this morning, didn't we, Ryan? Okay, so two questions with the password. How different should your passwords be from device to device? Because it's not good to have the same password for everything, right?
The school of thought on passwords, wanes according to who you ask. I'm of the opinion that a password should be comprehensive enough that it can't be easily guessed. It ought to contain at least one capitalized letter. Typically, you want to include one or more numeric numbers and maybe a symbol. And the reason for that is because then it's more difficult for someone to guess it. Does that make sense? But it ought to be something that's easily remembered. This is the challenge that we face regularly at the house, right? Because these passwords that they come up with are often obscure in nature. How'd you come up with that, I'll ask. And she'll say, I made it up. So it has no direct correlation with a loved one, a date, an event, anything really.
Well, I thought that was like a big giveaway. If you use your dog's name, somebody can figure it out. So,
but if it's too difficult for you to remember, it's useless.
Okay, so here's the thing.
All right.
The second part of this issue for me is, regardless of what I come up with as my password or passwords, where do I keep them safely? Because if I put them in my phone, I could lose my phone, and then
That's
what?
True. So I would suggest, particularly for the audience that we're maybe speaking to, write down these passwords on
a piece of paper?
Right. Go for it.
The Digital Minute.
Hey. And the reason for that is because you're less likely to misplace something that you've handwritten and put in a secure place. And who's likely to find that obscure piece of paper anyway? You and another family member. Now, if you're keeping secrets from them, then maybe hide it better. But I think that's a safe resource. The other thing I would tell you is that I happen to keep notes and workbooks across my computers and devices that include the password. But what I typically do is either star out one or two characters so that if someone were to glance at my password list, they still wouldn't be able to identify what exactly my password is. But the stars are easily enough recalled that I know what those missing letters are.
Wait till you get dementia. That's not going to work, buddy. I'm telling you.
Okay, we'll save that
Holy
for another
cow.
segment.
All right. Well, listen, I'm going to go now. I got to write down all my passwords on a piece of paper. We'll be back for another Digital Minute.